Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Rochester. For more than 150 years, ours has been a congregation of open minds and loving hearts, celebrating wisdom from many sources, celebrating many identities and spiritual paths. Your faith, your doubts, your questions are welcome here. During the service, we invite you to light a chalice or a candle with you at home. Children or adults, feel free to grab a coloring sheet, sit on the floor, listen to the story, maybe go get a snack or a cup of coffee if the homily is getting a little too long. Nobody will know. It's one of the benefits of online church. We're also so grateful today, not only for all those who have contributed from our own congregation of recording videos and music, but also Ellis, allowing us to use music from a previous service where she played at our church several months back. We're grateful to support these musicians during this time where there are many canceled shows and gigs, and mostly grateful for the beauty and artistry that she gifted to our congregation then and has allowed us to bring to you again today. And beyond this service, you can stay connected in a variety of ways. Online coffee hour Sundays after church at about 11:15. You can join us for our online forum every Wednesday at 6:30. This coming week is a pandemic poetry slam. You're invited to bring a favorite poem that's bringing you joy or hope or laughter or just truth in these days, and we'll share them together. You can come with a poem or you can just come and listen to others. All are welcome Wednesday night, 6:30. And during the offering, you can go to our website, uurochmn.org/give, to make a donation to keep our church alive and vibrant during this time. We thank you for your generosity. And in the words of Universalist John Murray, may you find in these days not hell, but hope and courage. It's good to be together.
Today, I met 500 crows crowded in the trees in my front yard. On the bare branches, they looked like leaves flying around. I was amazed. It sounded like a crow convention, like something big was going down, or some kind of argument, or maybe they were singing. And so I closed my eyes to better hear the crow chorus, to see if I could catch the beauty in their sound. Oh, they were singing out loud, such a clear and pure emotion. I felt moved, not even knowing what their music was about. Love, I am part heartache, I am part joyful child, I am a grown-up that's still growing up, and I don't always have it figured out. To tell you the truth, I'm still searching, trying to find that bigger light. I want to break free from all this suffering. I want to learn how to enjoy my life. So I close my eyes to better hear your heart beating. 'Cause in your arms I feel relief from the despair. I wonder, how can I hold on to this feeling? Or can I listen to my own heartbeat and hear the music there? I'm looking for a melody that will break my heart open wide. Today I met 500 crows.
The other morning, while standing outside of Sherwin-Williams, participating in what I hoped would be a safe exchange involving a credit card and a quart of paint, I looked at the sales associate, from 6 feet away of course, and said, "Well, I'd love to stay and chat, but I have a virus to catch." His quick retort was, "Don't we all?" Even if we don't all catch it, we must live with it somehow. And part of living with it, whether we realize it or not, has been somewhat liberating. We actually have time to chat, and most of us don't have a plane to catch, or a 10 o'clock to make, or even a phone call that we must absolutely have to do. But when the coin is flipped, we also don't have our daughter's volleyball game to attend, or a meeting with our son's teacher, or a casual visit to a relative or friend in person to actually see them and maybe even hug them, or to make an evening date at our favorite restaurant. We've been liberated to the point of social extinction. The automobile has historically been coined as the great liberator of American life and culture. And at times, when I've been driving, I absolutely marvel at the complexity of what takes place on our nation's roads and highways. I think about the speed at which we all travel, the nearly limitless power of the automobile, and the infinite possibilities of what could go wrong. And what about the other person on the road? Who are they? What kind of day are they having? Are they upset? Could they be on the verge of daydreaming, preoccupied, tired? And that's not even delving into the world of texting or phoning or even drunk driving. Are they safe? Am I safe? Am I paying enough attention to all that is going around me so fast? Obviously, there is a lot of room for error, or accidents would be a lot more numerous. So when you consider the sheer volume of cars on the road at any one time, there are relatively few accidents. We have learned the rules. We practice. But even more, we understand the seriousness of what we do and the consequences to ourselves and others. What benefits us benefits others. We stay safe. Stay safe. How many times have I heard that statement in the past few weeks? Stay safe. Now we have a whole new set of rules of living in order to stay safe. New rules so that collectively we can still live our lives and keep everyone safe. The virus has not liberated us from our responsibility towards others or the pain that it causes. We are challenged in new ways. But I am assured, just as with driving, our faith in each other's behavior will somehow guide us responsibly into this uncharted territory. George Bernard Shaw once said, "We are not made wise by the recollection of our past, but by the responsibility of our future."
This is the Unitarian Universalist Church. This is the Church of the Flaming Chalice. This is the Church of the Open Mind. This is the Church of the Loving Hearts, where friends come together and share.
If everything that you thought you knew was turned upside down, opposite from your point of view, and how would you feel if the ground was really the sky? And all of this time you've been walking when you could have been flying. If you run 1,000 miles a minute, you can't expect to wear out a few pairs of shoes. If you forget how to love and take it for granted, you can't expect to wear out people close to you. And what if all the birds were flying just to show us, and all the trees were really holding the sky up, and everything that you do matters somehow? What if heaven and hell was right now? How would it be if you really created your life? Stories you told, the good and bad, that they come alive. And how would it change if your words were like nails and wood? You build your house, but you forget that it's just a house. You can rebuild it, oh yes. And what if all the birds were flying just to show us, and all the trees were really holding the sky up, and everything that you do matters in the end? What if all of our mistakes are forgiven? What if love is a lot of listening, a little bit of time, not pretending we are caught up in a world of daydreams? What if loving what you have is everything? And what if all the birds were flying just to show us, and all the trees were really holding the sky up, and everything that you do matters so much? How would you change your life? Oh yeah. How would it be if everything that you thought you knew was turned upside down, opposite from your point of view?
Good morning, everybody. It's so nice to be able to be outside and see you today. And today is a sunny day, but some days in the last week have been not so sunny, and some days in the last week have been kind of rainy, or we had snow not too long ago. And so today I'm going to read a story that talks about these different colored days and how sometimes we can describe our emotions using those days. And as we all know, right now it's kind of crazy times, and we often have these days where we can feel lots of different emotions. So here's our story for today. My Many Colored Days by Dr. Seuss, with paintings by Steve Johnson and Lou Fancher. Some days are yellow. Some days are blue. On different days, I'm different too. You'd be surprised how many ways I change on different colored days. On bright red days, how good it feels to be a horse and kick up my heels. On other days, I'm other things. On bright blue days, I flap my wings. Some days, of course, feel sort of brown. Then I feel slow and low, low down. Then comes a yellow day, and wee, I'm a busy, buzzy bee. Gray day, everything is gray. I watch, but nothing moves today. Then all of a sudden I'm a circus seal. On my orange days, that's how I feel. Green days, deep, deep in the sea. Cool and quiet fish, that's me. On purple days I am sad. I groan, I drag my tail, I walk alone. But when my days are happy, pink, it's great not to jump and just not think. Then come my black days, mad and loud. I howl, I growl at every cloud. Then comes a mixed up day, and wham! I don't know who or what or where I am. But it all turns out, you see, and I go back to being me. Oh, I just love that story. And the illustrations, the paintings in there do such a great job of representing all of the different emotions that someone might be feeling. The dark grays and browns and blacks, and the happy, vibrant pinks and yellows and oranges. Because some days those colors are the only ways that we're able to describe what we're going through. So some days it's hard to figure out how you feel. So maybe if you're not feeling 100%, you can say, I'm feeling kind of gray today, or I'm kind of brown. Or maybe you're feeling red and feisty and wanting to get outside and kick up your heels. But no matter how you're feeling, please make sure that you're reaching out to friends and family, either by phone calls or FaceTime or sending letters in the mail. Anything that makes people know that you're thinking of them, because that can often turn someone's gray day into a bright, shiny yellow or pink day.
Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for our soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole.
We are in different places, but we are still together, and we gather in a virtual way as we continue to create a place of communal caring and connection. We are enriched by the presence of each other and are drawn closer to the heart of love in this time of service and reflection. In this time together, we ask that our minds be open, our hearts welcoming, our arms embracing. We honor all who support us in this caring, loving, and all-inclusive ministry. We thank Lynn Didier, serving as our caring coordinator up until April 29th, arranging care for our members and friends in need. Sandy and John McLaughlin will continue helping to arrange care for those needing services related to this very unique time when many of us have different needs related to COVID-19. Many of us may need additional care throughout this time, whether it be pastoral care, grocery delivery, or an errand run, and we encourage you to reach out to Reverend Luke or myself with that request. We thank all of you who have offered to assist with grocery shopping, rides, phone calls, and card writing, and we send gratitude to you all for serving our congregation now and always. In this community, we make time each week to share pieces of our lives with one another. We do this because each person here has value. Each person's experience matters. We lift up those whose lives are touched by sadness, by illness, by worry, or by loneliness. We revel in those who are celebrating joys in their lives. May their happiness lift us all. May all of us find comfort, hope, joy, and healing strength in this community. We hold the many students of our congregation in our hearts, as they have been informed that they will not be returning to their schools for the rest of the year due to the widespread pandemic. We especially hold our seniors, who await the news of how their milestone graduation will be celebrated. While it will look different than what was expected, we do and will celebrate you and the accomplishments you have achieved. We honor you all and hold you in our hearts as we all manage this new normal. Joyce Rundle sends thanks to all of you who have reached out to her over the last few weeks as she recovers from being hospitalized. We are happy to hear that she is feeling better and continue to keep her and Dick in our thoughts. Now more than ever, we need to reach out to all in our community to let them know we are still here and still holding them. We encourage you all to send cards and make calls to those that you love, opening the doors of communication and community. May the faith in the spirit of life, love for the community of earth, and love for the light in each other be ours now and in all the days to come.
I invite you to breathe deep the breath of life. Find your breath, center down. Take a deep breath. Feel below you the earth and its ancient turning. Feel above you the sky and its ancient stars. And you here, held between them, alive, awake. Know that here you are named and you are known as beloved, as sacred. I invite you to join me in this time of meditation, this time of prayer, first by sharing a few moments of silent breath together. Spirit of life and source of love, God of 1,000 names and beyond all naming. My goodness, this is a time to remember some things, isn't it? To remember that this is our faith. Each of us is worthy and beloved, no matter how distance learning is going, or how wild our homes have become, or how lonely or quiet our days have become. Because we all seem to be finding ourselves in the extremes, an extreme increase in noise or obligation or confinement that can be hard even with those we love. Or another extreme of deep isolation and loneliness and quiet, absent those personal connections that give us so much life. And maybe finding ourselves at either extreme, back and forth. So we gather here, some longing for some noise and life, others longing for quiet, all of us longing for hope and respite and some way forward. All we can do is one moment, one breath, one day, scratch that 1 minute, second at a time. So connect on screens, then step away and close your eyes and feel the sun or the wind or the rain or whatever, because it's all part of life. Don't let the temptation for connection make your device a new appendage. Use them for the good they offer and then set them down when they overwhelm you. Remember the ancient wisdom of earth as it teaches us stillness and balance and rest and play, tears like the raindrops, strength like a mountain. We hold in our hearts this day all those who suffer in mind, body, or spirit. I invite you to bring the names you're holding in your own heart this day in joy or sorrow, celebration or concern, and silently or aloud now in this time to speak their names. For all those names, spoken and unspoken, may we be forever grateful for the fabric of love and life that weaves us together. May those threads hold us all in love and strength. These words of meditation come from Alice Delaney, which we always need to hear more than once. I'll tell you a secret that I've learned. Nobody knows everything. We all get caught up in what we think and believe it's the truth, but mostly we don't have the answers. And life can feel like an unsteady boat drifting away from the land, making us feel alone. It is love that will carry you home. It is kindness that holds back the storms around you. It is patience sitting right beside the doubt. The only truth is what we do with right now. Amen.
I'll tell you a secret that I've learned. Nobody knows everything. We all get caught up in what we think and believe it's the truth. But mostly we don't have the answers, and life can feel like an unsteady boat drifting away from the land, making us feel alone. It is love that will carry you home. It is kindness that holds back the storms around you. It is patience sitting right beside the doubt. The only truth is what we do with right now. Something I finally come to realize: everyone has to compromise, and we can't do it all at the same time. It just doesn't work. But we can't spend our whole lives worrying about things out of our control. And then we find that life was built for change, and we have to let it all go. It is love that will carry you home. It is kindness that holds back the storms around you. It is There's patience sitting right beside the doubt. The only truth is what we do with right now.
Today's first reading is Autobiography of Eve by Ansel Elkins. Wearing nothing but snakeskin boots, I blazed a footpath, the first radical road out of that old kingdom, toward a new unknown. When I came to those great flaming gates of burning gold, I stood alone in terror at the threshold, between paradise and earth. There I heard a mysterious echo, my own voice, singing to me from across the forbidden side. I shook awake, at once alive in a blaze of green fire. Let it be known, I did not fall from grace. I leapt to freedom. Today's second reading is titled, To the People Who Have Mistaken Freedom for Liberation, by Teresa I. Soto. To be free, you must embrace the breath of your own existence without apology, even if they try to take it from you. You must know, not that you can do whatever you want. You are not a kudzu vine eating entire hillsides for the purpose of feeding your own lush life. You must know instead that inside you are entire universes, milky blue, magenta, and gold, expanding. But to actually be free, you must know, and you must fight for the entire universes inside of everyone else. Being free is not a license, but a promise.
So this week I've been wondering if it's really wise for my children to learn to read. All of the sudden they can read what I'm writing on a screen, or they ask questions about words on the front page of the Post Bulletin, or they grab some book on the shelf and ask, what does this mean? I've had to reconfigure which books are where on the shelves in these stay-at-home days. Don't get me wrong, I love witnessing them learn and grow. And maybe the challenge, of course, is not their learning, but me and a new way of being. It's like the old story, so often interpreted in a horrible way, of Eve eating the apple in the Garden of Eden and gaining understanding, which was somehow bad, or so some said. It's an old story taken hold of by the powerful, used to perpetuate knowledge being controlled by the few. It's rooted in patriarchy, rooted in classism to benefit the few at the expense of the many, conflating that with faithfulness. But not so, says the poet. I stood alone in terror, she writes, speaking for Eve in words that were not written by men. The poet says, at the threshold between paradise and earth, let it be known I did not fall from grace. I leapt to freedom. Such a better understanding, a gaining of freedom through understanding and wisdom and truth and knowing what you know and what you don't know. I wish it were still an old story. People believing that knowledge is evil or wrong or scary or a hoax. People fearing science and learning and vaccines. People focusing on only their own personal freedom, their own personal preferences of how things ought to be. When the world has changed, I don't know if ought to be is really making a lot of sense anymore. It's really not that hard a principle when we think of it, but we often forget it for 1,000 reasons, that freedom isn't just doing whatever we want. And if that's what you believe it is, or teach your children, well, as much as we're an open-minded religion, I've got to say you're probably doing it wrong then. Universalism has always been a spirituality that moves beyond the self, beyond our own individual lives. It reminds us that yes, we are sacred, but here's the kicker, so is everyone else. Universalism has been rooted in the belief that all people are sacred, that there is no hell or punishment in some evil afterlife other than the hells that we create here in this time and this life. It's always believed that no matter how much your neighbor bothers you, you're called to love them and make sure their well-being is cared for too. And with that comes spiritual freedom. Not freedom to act or believe or live however you want, but to be free from the need to prove your own worth, your belovedness, because we believe it's inherent. Freed from the fear that our humanness is somehow bad or wicked or wrong, and freed also from the belief that we are completely, utterly unique or different or better than anybody else. It frees us to know and name that the entire universe or spirit or God is living within each of us. It frees us to know and name the entire sacred universe living in everyone and to act accordingly. To not go for our own good alone, but for the common good. Spiritual liberation is not about being freed from certain dogmas or the influence of other beliefs, but it's believing that there is a wide world of collective wisdom that is open to us as a gift, and to know that our well-being is connected and part and parcel with everyone else. As Paul Wellstone said, we all do better when we all do better. And let's be clear about something. This idea of liberation, which has been our theme this month. Liberation is more than just some tweet. There is a type of rugged individualism that tends to cause tantrums among the privileged when their ability to do what they want, when they want, how they want, regardless of its effects on anyone else around them, when that freedom feels threatened. And I would say that isn't freedom, it's recklessness. We will need to be careful in these coming weeks and months and years to not be fooled by the age-old propaganda that it's better to go it alone. As much as we're being asked to isolate and confine ourselves right now for our own well-being, it might seem on the surface that going it alone and caring for yourself alone is for your benefit, but we know it's a call to community, why we're doing this. It's for our communal well-being, our collective liberation, or as our tradition would have called it, our universal salvation, our collective wholeness and wellness, that we are being asked to care for each other by staying away, that we are saving each other in that way. Because as the old saying goes, distance makes the heart grow fonder. Isn't that the truth right now? I think we are missing in profound ways maybe what we've taken for granted. There is an evil temptation in capitalism to believe that our worth is tied to profit. If we want an economy that works for all of us, this type of individualistic capitalism that has always valued profit over people is not going to work, and we know it never has. Yes, a closed economy is causing suffering and pain. And if we can't keep each other alive and care for ourselves and feed our families and pay bills, then I'd say we need a different structure, a caring economy, as some call it, that helps those who are struggling, that has good, robust safety nets when something like this happens. We are writing a new story, a new history about our collective well-being and how we've responded, the well-being of our natural world as well, and how we are intricately tied and bound and woven together with strands of connection and care. We're writing a new story because we need systems and structures and an economy and a culture that can bend and shift so that when we need to hunker down for each other and our neighbors' well-being, for our essential workers' well-being, that we don't crumble. To be free, writes minister and poet Teresa Soto, you must know not that you can do whatever you want. You must know instead that inside you are entire universes. To actually be free, you must know and you must fight for the entire universes inside everyone else. Being free is not a license, it's a promise. So what are we promising to each other? By our actions, by our idleness, by our Sabbath taking from the normal world, and really maybe the normal world wasn't all that great either. Maybe we have a chance to change some things that we should have changed long ago. What are our promises to each other for our collective well-being, to honor the universe which exists in all of us, to honor the universalism that calls us to have ever-growing hearts of love, of compassion, of conviction for our shared well-being, even those we don't particularly like but are called to love just the same, because we want all of us, as the Buddhist meditation reminds us, to be well, peaceful, and at ease. So let's write the story. And let's let those stories and books come off the shelf that everybody can read in developmentally appropriate ways, as my educator beloved would certainly remind me of. But let the wisdom just fly off those dusty shelves, and let's write this new story. Let's not pretend we have all the knowledge we need, that mostly we've got a lot of questions, and we don't understand everything, but we can keep learning and growing. Universalism frees the mind and the soul to find wisdom from 1,000 sources, including through the telling of our own sacred stories. To know our learning will never end in this life, and that the story we are writing together. Let's make it a good read, one that everyone is able to grab right off the shelf and to know in their bones it says one thing in 1,000 different ways, that it is love that will carry us home. Our benediction is often from Universalist John Murray, one you might know from when we gather, but the sentiment feels different now. To remember now, as the poets remind us, when we say to go and gather and be together, there are more ways to be together than just physically in person. That is our faith too. That is universalism, that we are connected, interconnected with ancestors of generations and unknown descendants to the future, across time and space, woven together by story and by love. So we reach out our hearts, even if we can't reach out our hands. We reach out our souls. We gather together in spirit, if not in body, and that connects us to the larger family of all souls that is larger than our imagining. And so in that spirit, go yonder, and gather the people. Give them not hell, but courage and hope. Give them something of the love you have found here. Tell all the people that love is our home.